Imagine waking up to a headline so bold it feels impossible yet strangely logical. A strategic alliance between South Africa and the United States that restores sovereignty, rebuilds the economy, secures borders, and reintroduces honest, gold-backed money into modern society. This vision draws inspiration from analytical frameworks shared by Professor William Liebenberg, but the scenario you're about to explore is entirely hypothetical, a way to understand how two nations could reshape global power in a single move. Picture South Africa rising from political decay into a flourishing, secure, self-governing federation, not by surrendering identity, but by aligning strategically with the world's most powerful nation while maintaining full autonomy. Under this scenario, South Africa becomes a uniquely positioned U.S. outpost, strengthened rather than absorbed, flourishing rather than collapsing, and culturally diverse rather than centrally controlled. Now imagine this transformation unfolding through a modern federal system where tribal autonomy, economic freedom, and strategic alignment replace corruption, decay, and instability. In this vision, South Africa does not lose its identity. It finally gains the structural power to protect it. This partnership becomes a new model of sovereignty, cooperation without control, independence without isolation. The first pillar of this scenario introduces visa-free travel between the United States and South Africa for all law-abiding citizens. Tourism accelerates, skilled migration becomes fluid, businesses expand access to global markets, and families reconnect across continents. Only individuals under legal sanction face restrictions, creating a system built on stability, accountability, and opportunity. For the United States, this establishes an unprecedented Southern Hemisphere foothold, a direct gateway into Africa's markets, and one of the most important oceanic corridors on the planet. For South Africa, the benefits are immediate: powerful security guarantees, renewed international relevance, and an economic lifeline strong enough to lift the nation from crisis into global competitiveness. Sovereignty is not surrendered, it is reinforced. South Africa gains the strength of a superpower partner while retaining full control over its cultural, regional, and constitutional identity. The next evolution of this hypothetical scenario restructures South Africa into a modern federation. Major ethnic groups, Afrikaners, Khoisan, Griqua, Namakwa, Zulu, and Xhosa, each receive self-governing autonomous homelands under a constitutional model that protects local culture, language, demographic identity, and internal law enforcement. This follows proven systems like those in Switzerland and the United States, where local governance ensures stability and reduces centralized tensions. A key element is the United States' recognition of the 1994 Afrikaner Homeland Accord, a legally binding agreement that has been historically overlooked. Its recognition restores legitimacy to minority protections within the federal framework. Meanwhile, Cape Town is designated as a federal district similar to Washington, D.C., ensuring a neutral, stable, and internationally trusted administrative and economic hub for the entire federation. For the U.S., this structure delivers something rare: stability in one of the world's most historically volatile regions, combined with a dramatic reduction in ethnic conflict, an issue that has become central to President Donald Trump's international agenda. For South Africa, it becomes a peaceful coexistence model where every group has self-determination without threatening national unity. The scenario then expands into a powerful military partnership. The United States obtains long-term operational rights over Simonstown, Saldanha Bay, and Upington Air Base, creating a naval and air command position unmatched in the Southern Hemisphere. Cooperative command structures ensure that South African sovereignty remains intact, while benefiting from unmatched technology, training, and global deterrent strength. For the United States, controlling the Indian Atlantic choke point secures global trade routes and neutralizes hostile international threats. For South Africa, these installations become fountains of job creation, advanced defense capabilities, and military modernization, the kind of investment that historically transforms entire regions. This partnership becomes a catalyst for stability and economic expansion on a scale the country has not seen in decades. Next, the scenario revives South Africa's high-tech crown jewels, Denel and Pelindaba. Through U.S. investment and strategic alignment, these once world-class aerospace and nuclear research centers are reignited. South Africa's unmatched engineering expertise, dormant but never lost, returns to global relevance, turning the nation into a manufacturing and technological powerhouse once again. For the United States, this ensures a reliable source of advanced manufacturing outside its borders. For South Africa, it restores national pride, economic momentum, and technological prestige across the continent. What comes next in this hypothetical vision dives deeper into financial reform, gold-backed stability, and the constitutional rebirth of a nation ready to step into global leadership. The next phase of this hypothetical vision introduces one of the most radical constitutional shifts in South African history. The adoption of a 1776-style common law constitution grounded in natural rights, personal liberty, limited government, and equal justice under the law. This immediately dismantles decades of legislative corruption, authoritarian overreach, and unstable policy frameworks that have weakened the nation since the mid-1990s, replacing them with a timeless legal structure proven to protect citizens against tyranny. For the United States, such an adoption strengthens global influence by promoting constitutional governance abroad, reinforcing democratic norms as a stabilizing force. For South Africa, the transformation restores fair courts, neutral justice, property rights, and legal protections rooted in the principle that all human beings possess inherent, God-given rights. This becomes the backbone of the new federation, protecting every citizen regardless of region or cultural group. In this scenario, a federal U.S.-style crime prevention agency enters South Africa with full mandate to dismantle the criminal syndicates that have captured the nation for decades. These specialized units focus on transnational networks, political corruption, human trafficking rings, and organized syndicates linked to ANC-aligned structures. While autonomous homelands manage local policing, federal units neutralize national-level threats too large or dangerous for local forces to tackle alone. For the United States, this ensures stability within a critical partner nation and disrupts international criminal pipelines operating through southern Africa. For South Africa, the effect is seismic: rapid reductions in violent crime, corruption, and political racketeering, alongside the complete end of land expropriation policies that once threatened economic collapse. A safe society becomes the new default. This restructuring extends into economic liberation. Under President Trump's economic doctrine, income tax, property tax, and similar personal taxes are abolished entirely and replaced with simplified, consumption-based models. For a country like South Africa, one of the most heavily taxed nations on Earth, where a small minority carries nearly the entire tax burden, this shift becomes a generational reset that restores fairness, affordability, and freedom. The motivations are clear. For the United States, South Africa becomes a proof of concept, demonstrating how post-GESARA tax reform can be implemented in real time. For South Africans, disposable income rises, investment accelerates, entrepreneurship explodes, and quality of life improves as economic throttling finally comes to an end. Entire regions experience immediate relief as financial oppression is lifted from households and businesses. The next pillar is free trade. All tariffs between South Africa and the United States are abolished, unlocking billions in bilateral trade while allowing South Africa's immense mineral wealth, including rare earth elements essential to advanced technology, to support U.S. industry. In return, South Africa gains unrestricted access to the world's largest consumer market, transforming it into a trade engine for the entire African continent. For the United States, the benefit is strategic. Secure access to minerals critical to defense, aerospace, energy, and microelectronics. For South Africa, foreign direct investment surges as American companies build manufacturing hubs, refineries, research facilities, and supply chain networks across the Federation. This becomes one of the fastest economic expansions in modern African history. Exploration then extends into South Africa's maritime frontiers. Joint U.S.-SA operations initiate large-scale oil and gas exploration across a 370-kilometer radius around South Africa's islands, fully aligned with international maritime law under UNCLOS. With more than 30 coastal islands and 2 sub-Antarctic territories, Marion and Prince Edward, South Africa possesses vast offshore territories that have never been fully surveyed or developed. For the United States, these ventures diversify global energy supply away from hostile regions. For South Africa, they provide the foundation for true energy independence, dramatically lower electricity costs, and the emergence of a sovereign energy sector able to power the entire federation without reliance on unstable state-run entities. Revenue from these discoveries becomes a pillar of national prosperity. Next, the scenario introduces a gold-backed currency for South Africa, developed with direct U.S. assistance. The return of the stolen 5,000 tons of gold, combined with existing reserves and enormous unmined deposits, forms one of the hardest and most stable monetary systems on Earth. Under this model, inflation disappears, the currency appreciates, and financial sovereignty is restored for the first time in decades. For the United States, a partner nation embracing honest money strengthens global confidence in commodity-backed systems during a time of international monetary restructuring. For South Africa, foreign investment erupts as global markets respond to the stability of a gold-anchored economy. The country repositions itself as a financial safe haven in the Southern Hemisphere. Finally, the scenario confronts South Africa's most divisive modern policies, 145 race-based laws, including black economic empowerment. Under the new constitutional order, these discriminatory rules are abolished across all autonomous regions. Equality under law becomes the foundational principle, every individual protected by the same rights, the same opportunities, and the same constitutional guarantees. For the United States, this reinforces its long-standing commitment to universal equality and legal neutrality. For South Africa, it marks the end of structural division and the beginning of a society built on merit, freedom, excellence, and equal constitutional protection, a clean slate for national unity. The final phase of this hypothetical transformation envisions South Africa emerging from decades of instability into a period of unmatched prosperity built on constitutional principles that guarantee freedom, reinforced by a strategic alliance with the United States, and strengthened through restored cultural autonomy across its diverse peoples. Under this model, the country becomes not just stable, but exceptional. A federation where safety, liberty, economic opportunity, and local self-governance combine to create a society capable of global influence. For both nations, the benefits are extraordinary. The United States gains a stable, strategically positioned ally with immense natural wealth and global trade relevance, while South Africa gains the security, economic power, and constitutional structure needed to re-enter the world stage with confidence. The result is a partnership unlike anything seen in modern geopolitics, balanced, mutually beneficial, and historically unprecedented. It is a future defined by safety in the streets, dignity in the courts, and economic liberation for every citizen regardless of region or ethnic heritage. It is a world where racial tension dissolves under equal constitutional protection, where the economy grows through freedom instead of regulation, and where South Africa becomes a beacon of stability in a continent yearning for leadership grounded in law, morality, and prosperity. And so the question becomes unavoidable to President Trump and to the people of South Africa. Does this future appeal to you? A future built on liberty, sovereignty, security, and honest money? A future where partnership does not replace identity, but strengthens it? This scenario is hypothetical, but the principles behind it remain timeless. Freedom works, stability attracts prosperity, and a nation grounded in constitutional truth can rise from any era of decline.